It is time to conquer yourself. Conquering yourself is the most notorious and the most glorious battle that you will ever participate in this realm. And when you finally do conquer yourself, you will realize that there's only one thing that has been standing in your way, and there's only one thing that will ever have the opportunity to truly stand in your way, and that is yourself. Mostly your decision making, because we all have random thoughts, we all have random feelings. Some of them are ours, some of it's not ours. Anxieties about things that haven't happened, or depression about things that have happened before us. We all have that. But it's the decision making. What do you do? Right? What are the consequences? But no matter what you do, own up to what you do. I'm not saying be proud of everything that you do, but own up to it. You did it. Learn from it. There's consequences. Be okay with the decisions that you make. Be intentional about what you do so that you can make better decisions and continue the journey of conquering yourself. But I'm not here to ramble. I want to give you value from the start of this video to the end. Now, as you can see, the main topic here is overcoming lust, getting away from porn, controlling those sexual desires. Not really controlling them, but owning them, not letting them own you. You understand what I'm saying? We all have sexual desires. We all have this blood running through us. These feelings run through us. But we own them. They shouldn't own us. You should be in control of what's going on in here at all times. All right? And understand, when you don't have control, you are giving up control. You're not out of control. You're giving up control. You always have control. You can always work on what's going on in here. All right? But to start off, for the people who aren't familiar with my story, I want to share my story. And for the ones that are familiar, I want to go further into detail so you can understand what I've gone through, what I thought when I was going through it, how I got myself out of it. And I also want to do, at the end of this video, give you a way to get out of this situation for yourself. And it will have nothing to do with my story, right? Now, first and foremost, the first time I was ever introduced to pornography, I was about 7 years old. I can remember it like I was yesterday. I was at my grandmother's house. Me, my cousin, and my brother were plundering in my uncle's room. And I left out of the room, went to the kitchen to grab some juice or to get some snacks or something like that. My cousin told me to come back in. I went back in and we found this DVD. And it had a provocative cover on it. It was a lady and a man. And, it had a bunch of colors and words all over it. And we had a PlayStation 2. And you could stick that CD right in that PlayStation 2 and run that joker. So that's what we did. And me being 7 years old, I seen things like this in the movies, but I still didn't understand it. It wasn't enough to really stimulate me, make me think anything, right? You hear it in the music, but it still wasn't enough to really stimulate me. But when this video came on, and this lady and this man are in a hot tub, and they were getting down, and they get out of the hot tub and go into the room, and the whole room was like white, and the sheets were white, and the towels were white, and the robes were white, and all these things I'm seeing just stimulate me all at once. I start tingling. I'm starting to feel things that I never felt. I'm starting to think things that I've never thought. And that's where it hit me. That's where I was introduced to it. Now, from then on, it sparked this curiosity in me. I wanted to understand what that was. I wanted to feel like that again. I'm not gonna lie, it scared me at first. But that curiosity, I was a curious person. I'm still a curious person by nature. I want to know, I have to understand, right? And I want to feel that again because I don't know what that was. It was scary, but it feels so right. It feels so right, but it's important in your life, no matter where you are, when something feels so good, when something feels so right, when you are so excited to do something, you need to question that. Now, granted, I was a child. I shouldn't have been exposed to that. We were plundering, we did what we did, you could blame it on whoever, but it just happened, bro. I was a kid, we was plundering, we was in there doing stuff we wasn't supposed to, and it happened, right? It happened. Now, I didn't know how to process that as a child. The older you get, the better you should be at processing certain things. Some of us start late, some of us start early, it doesn't really matter. But the same rules apply when something makes you overwhelmed, when it's just the utmost crazy feeling, when you're with a person and you feel overly dependent on them. Question that. Question what is going on so you can get to the root of it and fix it before it gets out of hand. Okay? So, me feeling overwhelmed, that curiosity sparked. I had no devices of my own that had internet. I had a PlayStation 2. I had a PSP. When we had little hacks on there, got the internet. Eventually got pornography on it too. I had a DS. My mother had, little flip phones and stuff. It wasn't crazy back in the day. It was in my adolescence. But she had the little flip phones and stuff. That's when the Razor was the hottest phone. It had the phones that slid out to the side and all of that. But she bought an iPad that she had for work. And she used it for a long time, and eventually it pretty much became mine. It became outdated, and she got some new tech, iPhone 4s and all that started to come out. But she gave me that iPad. And one day I thought about it. I was like, I can search up that stuff. And I searched it up. Somebody walked in the room and I closed it down. But then when I put P back in the search bar, it wouldn't go away. So I panicked. So immediately I'm feeling, it's like, all right, I'm searching for this feeling, but this feels so wrong because I don't want anybody to see me watching this, right? So I'm deleting it, and I figure out, you can clear your browser history. But also, my brother and my cousin told me about this little app. You download a calculator, you put in a code, and inside of the calculator app, there were private browsers, right? So before I knew this, I was on YouTube. I was all over the internet. At first, I was just looking up like men and women doing it. I'm searching up all types of stuff, trying to find it. Then I found out it was actually called porn, and that's when I searched it up. Couldn't clear the browser, finally cleared the browser, and then I got the iPad and I started downloading these calculator apps. You punch in your code. The older ones, they used to have the pin codes that you would draw and stuff like that. I had those too. But inside of that, it was a private browser. And I felt like I had struck gold. I could look at this whenever I wanted to. Nobody could ever find it. Nobody would ever know my password. And that's what it was. So from a very early age, I was pretty heavily exposed to porn, and it caused me to have an addiction. So me being a 10, 11, 12-year-old, before that, but I'm really preaching to that point because I started to know more about it. I was so hypersexual that I could not wait to grow up so I could have sex. I just wanted to have sex. I wanted to be old so I could drive and so I could do this and so I could have sex. I remember vividly to this day, we went out of town, went shopping, went out to eat, had us a great time. And I had to be 11 at the time. And I remember driving back into town. And I remember we passed by the sheriff's station. We was waiting at the light right by it. And I was just thinking to myself, I cannot wait till I'm 18. I just want to have sex. I want to have sex every day. I just want to have sex. That was the only thing really heavily on my mind. Like, I was still a child. Like, I want to make it very clear. I wasn't just poisoned by pornography and paralyzed and just some little freak. I had it in my mind, but I played football, excelled in school, and I think that's also dangerous too, because a lot of people that are going through stuff are still highly functional at certain things, and that can feel like some sort of crutch. You can be like, well, I'm still doing good while doing X, Y, and Z, so I should keep doing it, but that is not the right mind frame. That's probably more dangerous because you feel like you can get away with stuff because you are still competent in certain areas, or you still feel normal. My personality was still the same. My confidence definitely took a hit. I was very insecure, but I was still very much me. You know what I'm saying? But it was still a dangerous time. But I rushed growing up. I wanted to grow up so fast. Just wanted to grow up. I wanted to have sex. I wanted to do exactly that. Now, I'm from a small town. From a very small town. It's a pretty good ratio, mix between black and white. Very few Latin descent people, very few Asians, but it's a pretty fairly mixed town. But when you get into the school system, it's like you get washed out. Like, there's many classes where you're the only black person in the class. Well, from a very early age, I was also taught that I was related to a lot of the people around me, and they told us to watch out for these people because you don't want to be mixing genes and something happened with your baby being messed up. So naturally, I started to really be careful about the people I would like. And I would tell my mom, hey, I like this girl, such and such. Boy, that's your cousin. Boy, that's your cousin. Boy, that's your cousin. And that stained me for a while. So I'm like, well, damn, I'm not from Alabama. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to indulge. And then the girls that were like me, it was kind of that same vibe. It's like, I don't know if you're my cousin or not. I don't really want you. I'm not really interested in you. So that was baked into my mind. On top of that, now I'm watching all this pornography that's heavily dominated by the white race, which I'm just being honest, right? There's a lot of black people on there. There's a lot of different categories, but the top of the top, the most heavily promoted people are usually white women and black men, the interracial thing. And you can look this up. There's so many white porn stars, so many black porn stars that have been paid more, given bonuses to do the whole interracial thing, because I guess it just captures such a big audience. I don't know the psychology behind it. I can kind of get it. It's pretty sick. It's pretty bad to see people exploit it like that. You know, the people that perform and the people that watch. But it's some sick, twisted thing, and it fucked me up too. Because here I am. I don't want to talk to the people of my race because I'm afraid to commit incest, even though I'm a child, but I am hypersexual and I'm thinking about all these things. So it's very likely to happen, right? Then I'm sitting here, I'm watching all this pornography. I'm watching all this Disney Channel, which is also heavily dominated by a bunch of white superstars, okay? So my mind is fucked. I become infatuated with white girls. But this the kicker. They didn't like me. I grew up in a small town, and as you can imagine, I'm in the South. Wasn't the most friendly thing. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna go outside and get hung every day, right? Luckily I didn't have to go through that. My parents seen a little bit of it, my grandparents seen a lot of it. But white people around here are taught not to mess with black people, right? We were inferior to them. Dirty, ghetto, whatever, right? No matter who you were, how well spoken you were, it's still prejudiceness, right? So here I am in this bubble. I'm a hypersexual young child, right? I don't want to date the people that are of my culture. I want to date outside of my culture. I'm infatuated with people outside of my culture. I watch people outside of my culture and I become obsessed with all of this. But the people outside of my culture do not want me. So my value that I've placed outside of myself, outside of my culture, has broken me down. Now I'm insecure. Now people from outside of my culture, inside of my culture, talk about me in certain ways. You know, people used to talk about my hair, talk about my nose, my skin, the way I dress, my height. So here I am in middle school. I hate myself. I used to sit in the mirror and squeeze my nose, hold it for like 30 minutes, hoping that my nose would slim down. I used to try to pull my face up, stretch my face out, pull my skin. I never really got into the whole trying to scrape my skin off. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to be white. After watching Austin and Ally and all these shows, I wanted to be white for a while, but I never tried to scrape off my skin. I don't think it got that deep for me. But I tried to straighten my hair, put all types of stuff in my hair. I've tried it all. And then I realized that a lot of people that were talking about me, they wanted what I had. So I started to get a little more confidence, but I was still a very hypersexual young man. And then I was given the opportunity to lose my virginity at about 13 years old. It didn't go through. I was given another opportunity to lose my virginity at about 14 years old, but it didn't go through. But then I get to high school, and now I'm going on 15, and I have the opportunity to walk right across my neighborhood and break my virginity. And I did. And when I tell you it was one of the best but worst experiences in my life. Was it scary? Absolutely. Did I know what to do? Yes and no. I know I had consumed hundreds, probably thousands of videos. I knew exactly what to do, but actually performing was terrifying. Because you see these dudes lasting 30, 40 minutes, but you're not realizing that they cutting this. And every time they switch in a position, they probably just shooting a new set. But you're not seeing this. You're thinking that you're supposed to last 30, 40 minutes and you're supposed to do this. So as I'm walking up to the house, I'm shaking. I don't want to get caught. I know what to do, but I don't know how to do it. Right? I don't know how to do this. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But I'm here. I'm here to do it. And like I said, it was one of the best, worst experiences ever. That was a crazy feeling. You know, if I could go back and change the way I did it, would I do that? Yes and no. I'm glad I learned, but it was mentally scarring. But it still unlocked a whole new can of worms. I'm already hypersexual. I'm already addicted to watching sex. Now I've had sex. And I want more. And I want more. And I want more. But I'm still a young man. I don't have a car. I don't have the access to do this. I have parents who care. So I'm not able to let the bull out of the cage. So you can imagine all the hormones that are built up. leading me going into high school. These girls have already hit puberty. Now they growing. Now I'm in high school and I see girls that are older than me. They fully grown, right? They fully grown into themselves. They're growing into themselves. And this is what I see every day. Then I started to look a little bit better. I started to mature a little bit. So I started to get more attention and I felt like people were flirting with me, right? I'm starting to have conversations, starting to gain a little bit of confidence. But every day I'm going home and I feel like somebody done flirted with me. And, I go try to find them on pornography, find somebody that looks identical to them. Something might happen, a girl will touch me the wrong way in class and I can't wait to get home to get it off. Somebody talk to me the wrong way, I can't wait to get home and get it off. And now you're starting to be surrounded by people and they starting to talk about sex and you almost feel left out. So you want to seek more sexual experiences, or I did. That's what I was thinking. I just wanted to indulge in that world. Not knowing the dangers of it. Not knowing anything. Okay? So then, at this point in my life, about my sophomore year in high school, I become fully addicted to pornography. I ran across some article. I don't remember what it was, but you don't need some article to tell you when you're addicted to something. But I read off all the symptoms, read off like everything, and I matched all of it. And I medically diagnosed myself at that point, and I knew I was addicted. I was watching porn just about every day. It got to the point that I was watching porn for entertainment. I would find the worst pornography videos, the worst acting, and laugh at it, and then eventually find something that I like and get off to it. On page 79, trying to find the perfect way to massacre myself. That's where I was at, not wanting to spend time with my family so I could get back here in my room and get it off. Sitting here procrastinating about doing something, scrolling on my phone, and then when I hear the wheels pull up to the house, I'm trying to get one off quick before somebody comes in the house. Like, I was all the way out of whack. And I wonder why my brain was so foggy, why I was always irritated, but I still performed well in my life. I did pretty good at football, did pretty good at track, was doing pretty good in powerlifting. Grades always phenomenal. In academic clubs, that was no issue. But I'm still battling a bunch of stuff. People coming to me with their issues, not knowing that I got issues going on with me. Every day. I'm battling every day. Then I feel like I'm getting in these situations with these girls and it feel like they don't like me, and then I find out that they like me. Now they unavailable, right? Then I feel like some people are coming into my life and they trying to entice me, and then when I get sunken in, now they run away. Like, I had all these things going on. And I wasn't a victim at all. Life was happening for me, not to me. I understand that firmly. But then I realized I wanted to make a change. Because at this point in my life, I couldn't make eye contact with people, especially ladies. I had put ladies on a pedestal. I was obsessed, infatuated, right? I still had respect for ladies. I didn't treat ladies like objects, but I wanted to have a whole lot of sex. We put it like that. And if I could have, I would have in that time. But I still respected ladies. I grew up around a lot of respectable ladies, and they, commend that. So still had respect for ladies, still treated people with respect, but it was like an internal battle. You would never know. But I knew. I lived with myself every day. But the fact that I couldn't look people in the eyes, even people that I wasn't attracted to, even like males, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't look them in the eyes because I felt like a shell of myself. I felt hollow. I felt nasty. Okay? And I was also heartbroken, coming off all these little heartbreak spells. But then I run across the idea of semen retention. Oh, I heard Mike Tyson did it. I heard this person do it. And I heard semen retention can make you fly. And I go and do all this research about all the benefits. And I'm like, bro, I got to do that. So I started my journey. I stopped for a day. Relapse. Went a few days, relapse. Went about a week, relapse. Went a few weeks, relapse. I unlocked a new mode. Developed an alter ego for myself, HBK Mon. I was tired of being heartbroken by people. I was tired of being heartbroken by myself. I was tired of letting myself down. And if you would try to break my heart, I would break yours by not being broken. I didn't go out seeking to hurt people. I just wasn't tolerating being hurt, and that was mainly for myself. I was tired of telling myself things and not showing up for myself. I was tired of being a shell of myself. So I developed this ego, and he had the most confidence and just a swag about himself, and he was just so him. And he showed up for himself. That was the main thing. And I went 8 months without watching porn and without ejaculating. And I felt like a god. Humbly. I didn't float. I didn't levitate. My skin didn't turn into vibranium, but I felt great. I was so much more energized. I would be working out every day, and I would feel like my gains were still, but when I was juiced up, it felt like I could work out once a month, and I was still yoked. And the way I approach things was a lot different too. I'm not saying those things are directly related, but I'm telling my story. You understand what I'm saying? I go 8 months, clean, nothing, right? Anytime I would see anything that I thought was provocative, block it. I blocked so many people on Instagram, blocked so many people on Snapchat, all the bots, everything. I'm deleting it all. When I see that, when I was triggered by that, I didn't try to fight it. I didn't try to resist it. I didn't try to dive into it. I throw it out. I run away from it. I submit it up to the higher power. I don't have time for it. And that helped me. And then I got a message on Thanksgiving. 8 months later, I get a message on Thanksgiving saying, hey, my brothers, they're going to be gone. My parents are going to be gone too. You should come over. I'm like, where they at first? Because I ain't finna, if they 10 minutes down the road, I'm not coming over there. But they were way out of town. So 8 months later on Thanksgiving, I eat with my family, and then I go and I break that streak with an actual person. And that felt phenomenal. Phenomenal. It was like letting Niagara Falls wash out through a hole that big. It was just like, mentally, physically, that was one of the greatest things I ever felt. And it was like I stood the test of that time, of that journey, and then I did it in the right way. That's how I felt. Was it the best thing for a 17-year-old to be doing? Probably not, but I could have been doing worse things with my life. But it felt good to show up for myself like that, and then to end it, to close out that chapter the right way. So it made me feel good. And from that point on, I stayed away from porn. I felt like I had conquered myself. Sex didn't really move me. I still had a crazy sex drive. To this day, I am a hypersexual creature, but it does not move me, right? I could be right there at the front door about to knock on heaven. And if you don't want to do it, I truly don't care. If I got to rub your head, whatever, that's customary to me anyway. Like that don't bother me. Will it upset me if I'm able to get to third base and I'm about to get to home and they call the game off? Yeah, it's going to upset me, but it's more of a, oh, well, I was looking forward to that. It's not, oh, I wanted to have sex. It don't move me no more. I'm much bigger than that. I'm not my sex drive. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of me. It's not who I am. I'm not fiending to let one off. I own that. It doesn't own me. So I took all that time learning who I was, learning who I wanted to be, and I became so obsessed with who I wanted to be that every decision that I made had to line up with that. Everything I did, the way I walked, the way I talked, the way I studied, the music I listened to, I had to cultivate who I wanted to be through my actions, through the trials, through the tribulations. I had to cultivate that because nobody else was going to do it for me. Nobody else was going to save me. But I conquered myself. Every decision that I make, I'm okay with because I've already thought it through. You understand what I'm saying? I'm on a diet right now, getting away from sugar. But guess what I did this morning? I had a cupcake because I wanted to. I could die tomorrow. That cupcake could kill me. You know what I'm saying? Just putting all these different scenarios out there. But I wanted the cupcake and I ate it. When I go to the gym tonight, I am going to work extra hard. I'm not working extra hard just because I had a cupcake. I work extra hard because I work extra hard. And because I work extra hard, I can afford to have a cupcake. I can afford to do the things that I want to do because I have formed a great relation with everything it is. So it's important. To me, that's what it means to conquer yourself. It's not about you abstaining from these things. It's about you making decisions that benefit you. And when you make decisions that do not benefit you, make sure you learn something so you can benefit. Don't treat yourself like some taboo lore. It's okay. We are not perfect. We all have vices. We all do things that we aren't proud of. But be able to stand back up, pat yourself on the back, and keep going. Don't treat yourself like some ballistic missile that's going to poison the whole world just by making a mistake. Like, don't look at yourself like that. Stand upright. Whether you're a man or a lady, stand up, grow up, and own up to your mistakes, own up to your decisions. They're yours. You got to deal with them. Learn from them. Do whatever it is that you have to do. Don't treat yourself like some evil spirit, because you're not. It's a lot going on in this world, and sometimes we look for these little comfort outlets, and they are pretty bad. They're detrimental for us. But you just got to stand up and be willing to have the courage to step into the ring with yourself. That's all it is. So in this place in my life, whether I do something I'm proud of or not proud of, I'm okay with the decision because I'm making it. I'm not controlled by anything. I control me. Me doesn't control I. You understand what I'm saying? But that's just what it is. So, to give you a perspective on my life after dealing with that, I'm still a very hypersexual person. My mind is constantly flooded with triggers and everything just like it was when I was a child. But I understand what's going on now. There are times when I'm extremely vulnerable and temptation is at the utmost. I just got out of a spell of that. And it can be influenced by a whole bunch of things, but you have to regulate. You have to watch what you see, because these things that you see become a part of you. The girl you scroll by that was twerking, and for the ladies, the guy you scroll by and that you stared at, that stuff don't just leave your mind. It's sitting there waiting to be triggered at 3 a.m. when you're just sitting up doing nothing. That stuff stays with you, so be very intentional about what you consume. Get off of social media. Get away from these triggers, because there's plenty of them. If you're around people that constantly talk about things that are not good, that are explicit, that will trigger you to think about X, Y, and Z or go do X, Y, and Z, separate yourself. And if they get upset about that, they don't have your best interest in mind. If you tell them you don't want to hear about that and they don't stop, they don't have your best interest in mind. And if you're in a job place and they talking about that and they won't let up, you can report that and get you some money too. You get some compensation for sexual harassment. But don't pull it, just let you know. Look into the terms and clauses of that in your state. But you just gotta mold your environment to be the way you want it to be, in your mind and the body and the soul. And that's what I believe that I do a great job of every day. And when I do get tempted, I run away from it. I submit it up to the higher power. I submit it up to God. Whatever you believe in, your higher self, your future self, whatever it is that you believe in, it's not my job to dictate that. Everybody has a different path. Religious, spiritual, it's practically all the same. And for the people who think it's not, it doesn't matter. You just deal with what you deal with the way you deal with it. Let people do what they do. But submit it. It's not your job to fight it. We are literally programmed to not fight it. We are animals. I think people forgot that. It is your instinct to feel that feeling and go let it off and create a new line of you. You know what I'm saying? A new generation of you. But we live in a world that is so unnatural to us that we are constantly stimulated by things that take advantage of our instincts. You see all this food and now you're hungry all the time. You see all this provocative stuff and all this promiscuous stuff and now you're horny all the time. It's normal to be horny. It's normal to be hungry. But it's not normal to be that all the time. It's not normal to be that and not to control it. But we live in a world that influences you to do that and entices you to be that way. So you have to take it upon yourself to clean your environment, to clean, what you consume. Because what you frequently see is your frequency. So if you want good things in your life, make sure you're seeing good things. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with good things and good people, right? Develop a relationship that's higher than yourself, with God, with some higher purpose, and become so obsessed with your future self that you have no choice but to cultivate a very promising presence. You got one day at a time, 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month at a time. That's all you got. 24 hours at a time. So win one day, every day. Win that 24 hours every day. Take it one day at a time. Don't sit here and think about, I got to stay away from porn for 8 months like Shimon did. No. Win one day at a time, every day. Don't even think about it. Yesterday's gone. It don't exist. Tomorrow, you might not even make it. Worry about today. You can win today. I promise. When you get that temptation, like I said, throw it up, throw it out, bust down, do some push-ups, do whatever you have to do to get out of that environment. Go somewhere where you can't sin so easily. Go sit in the living room. Go talk to a friend. Call a friend up. Do whatever you have to do. I have a community with like-minded people that you can talk to, including myself. Put yourself out there to where it's harder for you to sin. Don't run away. Don't run into the shadows. Don't run into your sadness. Don't run into your comfort. Develop a better relationship with comfort. Develop a better relationship with pleasure. Do things that show you that pleasure comes to those who wait. It comes to those who put in the work to reap the rewards. It's not something that you can just open up your phone and see. It's not microwavable. That's why a lot of people are falling into this dopamine and, this epidemic. It's endorphin epidemic because they so used to being stimulated right on. But when you work out, when you do things and you put in work and you see that things take a little time. Things take a little time to make progress, and you start to see things build slowly but surely. It rewires your brain. There's a reward after you do what you do. You don't get paid before you do the job unless you're doing some other type of job, but you still got to put in work regardless. And if you don't put in the work, they taking their money back. Or you're getting sued one way or the other. So keep that in mind. Eat cleaner. You know what I'm saying? Fix your diet up. And like I mentioned earlier, your diet is not only what goes into your mouth, but your soul too. That's why they call it soul food. Be careful what you consume. Be careful what you see. Surround yourself around people who want you to do well. And if you can't be that for yourself, and you can always search online too. I know it's a dangerous place, but there's a lot of good in it as well. So don't forget about the advantages of technology. But other than that, it takes commitment. It takes commitment. It is extremely hard to abandon your ways, to abandon your nature, especially a nature that has been tampered with. But it's very important for you to take this journey, for you to conquer yourself. And it is very much worth it. I think out of all the things that I've done in my life, all the things that I can say that I accomplished, conquering myself was the most notorious, like I said. But it came from having patience. It came from having persistence. And I was just obsessed with being a better me. And I made that happen by just standing up for myself. Not beating myself down, just being there for myself and wanting better for myself. So, to end it up, habits. We are habitual creatures. We do things out of habit. We get used to things. It's why we do what we do. It's just what it is. A lot of you think you don't have discipline or consistency in your life, but you do. When you're in your lowest of lows, you're probably consistently destroying yourself. You have discipline to the side of yourself that wants to lay on the couch and play the game and do everything that you're not supposed to do. That takes discipline, right? Because you're doing that at a high level, even when it's not good for you. All you have to do is just flip that personality. All you're doing is flipping the identity. Taking the energy that you already have and that you already use and flipping the identity of it. That is what gets you to the promised land. So you have to develop some better habits. Develop some better habits. Unlearn what is ruining your life. Now think about what you do on a daily basis, what you eat on a daily basis. If it's not doing good for you, change it out. Switch it up. Switch it up. You can still do things that aren't the greatest for you, right? Sometimes I'll just sit and watch a movie. I'll watch 3 sometimes. Like I said, sometimes I'll splurge and have ice cream all the time, but you got to know your limits, right? But don't treat yourself like some criminal, because that's not right either. Take time, heal your traumas, talk, let things out, even if you have to take a camera and just talk to it. Do whatever you can do to let all of this out so you can clean it up and become a better version of yourself. And that's just what it is. But yeah, if y'all want a video about habits and going a little more in detail with that, I'll make a video on that. But until then, I hope this video was informative. I hope it opened the eyes for people. I hope it made you realize that you're not alone. Even the people that you look up to battle every day, even the people that think they have it going on, don't have it going on. Even the people that you think have it all figured out, don't have it figured out. So I'm just grounded, man, being vulnerable, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. It's something that can help a lot of people. If you're struggling with these things, you should probably talk about it too. There's many different places for it. You can do exactly what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. You can help a lot of people too. That's something I realized. Me being vulnerable and open up and having just a little bit of bravery has helped thousands, millions of people just by sharing a story. So by all means, I'll do it. So, like I said, I love y'all, appreciate y'all. I hope I helped somebody today. And shout out to y'all, man. Like if you're new, subscribe. Shimon Davis is out.